All right, ladies, we're gonna work on our April flowers today. I've got all the pieces that I need out here to complete one of each one. So let's get started on our biggest flower today. So I'm gonna start with this one right here, this piece. I'm gonna grab my zig writer and I'm gonna start doing all of the lines and the doodling. So we're gonna go around these individual petals. And then wherever we stopped, we can add some of those small dots. And then we're gonna add some lines in here to kind of create the look of individual petals on this one. So nice curve up, some small curves. And we're gonna put some dots on those also. Not every single one, but you know, just a few here and there. And I've got some little marks coming in on this one just for a little bit more definition. And I'm going to grab the fat end. Okay. And add some of those dots. There we go. That piece is good. So now we're going to come into this piece, and this one we have to create individual petals. So we're going to start on this left-hand side, and we're going to pull a line all the way around and then all the way back down, almost like a little heart up here to complete that look of an individual petal. And then we're gonna do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll just do the tops. We're gonna draw some long lines up through the center of this one and also on these ones. Bottom of this is covered up, so don't worry about that so much. And then you're gonna go back, you're gonna do your little tiny lines coming in, and then we're going to do our dotting. So we're going to dot on the lines, some of them, and then wherever we stopped, add a couple. All right, turn your marker over, and then we're going to do the fat ones. I know most of this is going to get covered up, but I like that shadow look, so I'm going to dot a little bit heavier in there. Okay. All right, so let's do our next one. So this is the same thing. We've got to make these look like individual petals on here. So we're going to start let's just start on this side right here. We're going to create one petal, bring it in from the center, and then pull it out. And then we'll do the same thing. And then maybe I'll come around this side. Oops. Oh, running off the page there. Perfect. Okay. Now that I've got that, let's go back and start our dotting on just the ends here. Okay, and then this is the bottom portion of my flower, okay? So I'm gonna pull some lines back down and some out. And then some smaller ones. And we might need to add more of those depending on where we place these pieces, okay? So let's do our dotting on any of the lines that we've gotten so far that are not the individual petal. Let's flip it over. I got a new zig writer out, and these dots for the large size seem small. So if you have a newer one, just make sure you push harder so that you're getting a nice size dot from that large end of your zig writer. Okay. Couple on the ends here. Perfect. Okay, now that we have that, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna assemble the flower. I think it's easier if you assemble it for the chalking part. So I'm gonna put glue dots here, and I'm gonna use my adhesive down at the bottom because I want that lift. And then this is gonna go about right there. Then I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna use a couple glue dot or pop dots that I've cut, and then put a little bit of adhesive, and then that fits right on top of it, just like that. So then we've got something that gives us that dimension of the flowers. Now I just wanna go back with my thin end and add a few more lines where I ended up putting this second layer here of the petal. And I didn't do a couple lines on the ends of the big flower, so make sure you do that. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna add some dotting in here. Okay, perfect. So then for this flower, we're gonna go and move on to our chalk, and we're gonna do reds and pinks and black for this one here. So I'm gonna start with my pink color. I'm just gonna work that, and I'm gonna go in here for that highlighting, giving it that shadow look. And I'm gonna go wherever I put like black lines in the middle. I'm gonna do a nice color on those. And then from here, I'm going to add black. I don't normally clean it off, but all at once. Just a bit for the shadowing, because I can always add more. Now I like to use red on a lot of these because it helps it pop. So I'm just adding a little bit of red to a bit of the ends. Okay, let's smooth that all out. Now it looks good. Just gonna go back in with my pink and brighten this flower up. Perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and do the two leaves here that we have so that you can kind of see where those go. And then we're gonna do the glitter and the paint on those. All right, so for the leaves, we're just gonna follow around the edges for the individual ones, okay? And then a nice curve in the center and some small lines coming up. And then again, dotting. Hard to see with this dark color, but make sure you look at the sketch or you blow it up on your iPad or computer. Okay, that's good for this one. Let's go ahead and do this. And since the color is so dark, I use a lot of black on these on one side. And I'm gonna make this look like an individual leaf by pulling that line down. Should be fast so that you have a nice curve and it doesn't look like you stopped and started. Uh-oh, I've got a cat coming up. If you see a shadow, that's Ollie interrupting. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab our, I'm going to use a darker color. I'm going to go on one side of each of these along where I put that black line. And then I'm going to add a little black. To that line. And then to the same edge. I always seem to like to put it on the tips of these too. So there we go. All right, let's clean that off. And let's assemble our flower. So on one of the flowers, we're gonna be like this. And on another one, we're gonna have the leaf out this way. So I'm just gonna add the big one to this. I'm gonna put a little adhesive along the edge. Glue it down. And now let's go back with the white paint. I've got my toothpick ready, and I'm gonna highlight where I have the lines that look like individual petals and where I put other dots. I didn't do any of the leaves on these, so we're not gonna do that. Perfect. Okay, let's set that aside to dry, and then we'll come back to it for the yellow glitter. So for the purple flower, like we did last time, we're going to be lining this with our zig writer, giving it a black stem, and then pulling up to the flower so it looks like it's attached there, okay? And then once we do that, we're just going to be drawing the edges. I use the fat end of the zig writer, and I dot the little stamen here. And then I'm going to pull some lines that look like individual petals and do the dotting. I'm doing the dotting only pretty much on one side. Okay, that one is done. And now we're gonna go back with a little bit of whatever your brightest purple chalk is. Brush it off and do the white paint, and then again, we'll set this one to dry. Okay, and we're gonna come back to doing the actual yellow glitter glue. So let's take care of the pink flower that we have. You need 2 pieces for this one, and I'm gonna draw on them individually. I'm gonna give them a center and do that fun individual ruffly petal. Add my dots. I'm gonna pull some lines through. Add dots. Okay, let's set that aside. That's going to be my top portion, so I'm not going to worry about the circle here because you won't see it. Trying to be very fast today. I only get like 15 minutes for a video, so you can take your time a little bit more, but once they're all together, it looks just as nice. Pull the lines through. Large dots. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna put a little glue dot right there. I really like these glue dots that are on these sheets, and it's the micros. So I'm gonna, oh, what did I just do? I put it on the wrong one. So I'm gonna draw now the center. Add my dotting, and perfect. Okay, let's do that a little bit more. There we go. And I like using that glue dot because then I can fold these up and give them that nice, you know, dimension. Okay, so after that, let's do a little bit of chalking on this one. We're only going to use red and black. These are different. I'm going to go underneath here, add a little black like shadowing. And that is it for this one besides the white paint. Do a little bit of white paint in the center. A little bit where some of the dots are. Okay, and let's set that little guy aside to dry. Okay, so we're down to our last green leaf, and then we'll go back and we will glitter. Now, this one's pretty small, and it's you know, kind of delicate. So I drew one long line through the center of the stem. And then I went back and I did the individual pieces. Did one there. Giving it that nice curve. Your black needs to have those curves. It's what really creates the shape that your eye sees. So you don't want to be too stiff. Perfect. All right, and then this one I did a lot of doodling, dotting with the small side, but I did it heavy only on one side of the green. Couple here, and then we'll go back with the big marker. Perfect, love it. And then we're gonna do a brighter green, just pretty much on one side of these. I'm just loading up my Q-tip and then just giving it like a little spin. And then that's gonna be it. And I didn't put any white on this one. So let's just grab our pieces again and we're gonna add our glitter. Get a new sheet here to clean that up. So we've got a little flower here. We've got this coming out. I really love these purple ones. Okay, great. Let's add the glitter to this, even though it's not stuck down. So we're dotting, always heavy, where we have a lot of our black and our white, and where we created those look of having an individual petal there, a seam. I did a little bit along some of the edges. Okay, then for this guy, I did a dot on the stamen and just right where I put the white paint. Make sure you let your white paint dry, just so you don't have any problems. Heavy in the center and on the white paint. Okay, ladies, that's gonna be it for our April flowers.